take from the fire hydrant, but they have the side painted.
Okay.
Right, I need a sign.
We're good.
We are very good. All righty, so I will start up again. It is Friday, 22 July, 2022. This is a special meeting of the Waterford Valley Board of Selectmen. I am Rich Reed, the chair. Here today also is Margaret Turner, the vice chair, and select board member Bob Freeze. So we have a quorum. All three of us are here. And I see the first item, see no one out there. So I see the first item is the ice arena outside staining quote.
So we have a quote from 525 East Painting. Jim's been tracking down for several weeks. He has a window of opportunity next week to do the painting. We have the funds available in our capital improvements account if we would like to use those.
Did the ice arena ask us to do it?
No, it's starting, there are
Oh.
gaps and holes.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
things
It
that
needs
need
to be done. I was just curious.
No,
as to whether-
I identified it. And
Okay.
Did we discuss this?
we did discuss it,
I have a
but
vague
again,
memory.
I don't think
Very vague.
we didn't have any idea what the cost would be, and you asked
Mhm.
us to get the cost.
Okay, so that, this
So
is
I'm
now,
just
okay.
looking for
I see.
final approval if you're all right with doing this. They have the wall, they have the equipment.
It's unusual.
And it's gonna take a lot of state.
Are the white rafters, those inside?
No, those are the rafter tails that come out.
Oh, okay.
The CL ones.
This is all exterior.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Surprised he has a window.
Well, we are too, so the weather looks good, so we'd like to get it done.
Yeah.
All
It
right.
hasn't been done probably for over 10 years.
Would the
He's a
board
good
like to
painter.
discuss?
He's
Yes.
a good painter. Yeah.
Any discussion?
No.
Someone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right. And could you make that for the $10,000
To 525.
525 east for staining?
Okay, very good.
Outside staining, okay.
Is it gonna be red again?
Yes, it'll be the same.
Hopefully the same.
Well, close, but red, not purple or pink.
I suppose we'll just have to make sure when they come to string the lights for the holiday lights, now that we have a whole nice new looking
Yes,
side, we may want to be a little bit more
exactly.
careful.
I gather we don't have to be concerned about getting competitive bids or anything like that.
No, it's not a requirement unless you want us to. But Jim's been asking around to any of the painting companies if they have an availability that I'd like to get.
Sharon, could you also make that part of the minutes that we asked about the competitive bid, and that it's good to go, which is great. Next item, transfer station update.
Yep, so you have a sheet in your packet. I'll just go down quickly through these and then we can ask questions or we can have a discussion. So Wednesday, we had our meeting via remote with 3 members of the New Hampshire DES staff, Solid Waste Bureau. Austin Mills, the guy who did the inspection, Jamie Colby, who is a solid waste management supervisor, and Emily Jones, compliance assurance section supervisor. They, based on the discussion that we had on Wednesday, they are still discussing possible options for us. They are focused on whether or not we can close the central collection area and move dumpsters out into neighborhood sites as we have tentatively talked about. There were 3 definite decisions from the discussion. We cannot continue to collect in the current configuration until the new area is ready next year. We must do something in the interim. We will need new permits for whatever we choose to do for the interim. And we're going to need a new permit for our planned construction area. And that will have to be enclosed and gated And we'll have to go through the whole permitting process for a solid waste transfer station.
When they say we need new permits for immediate steps, does that include moving them out to the neighborhoods?
It depends on how they classify them. There are several other things that we can do that will require a permit, but if they just allowed us to take the dumpsters and put them out around like the other dumpsters out there, no.
Okay,
None of the dumpsters out here are permitted.
okay,
My problem is if we keep talking about them out here, I don't want them to come back and say we've reevaluated that decision. And now you somehow have to get a permit for them.
Yeah.
So we try to do that quietly. But that is primarily what they are talking about internally.
And what would actually will be permitted and where? An MSW permit?
It will be a solid waste.
Right now we have a
Collection.
cycle,
All we have is a
Recycle.
recycling center,
and that's
Permit.
behind the fence.
and that's behind the fence.
And this would allow us to,
Collect municipal solid waste.
on either side of the fence that currently
No.
exists.
It will be inside a.
No, inside a fence, but I'm talking about
Oh,
the area.
yes, it can be, it can be.
It could be in
down-
front of DP.
That's right, it could be-
DPW or,
That's correct.
If
could
we
be
fenced it in.
Onto the Tyrell property, it can be somewhere else, but wherever we put it, it will have to be controlled access, manned when it's open.
right,
And it will have to go through the permitting process.
and that does not apply for all, everything else.
And that does not
Apply for
apply
the
to
the other
To
dumpsters,
the other
90% of the dumpsters
Correct.
that are out.
So
Okay.
if they let us spread them, we don't have to do anything.
that's correct.
Okay.
So.
well, do they have any say into whether we spread them or not?
Technically, no, but I can't just say these dumpsters went away.
Yeah,
And,
I know,
and then if they go, where did you put them?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Well, I don't think we
I
could
can't
quite
say
say
I
that,
don't
but it will,
But then if I
obviously,
say
we are,
two- If
Right.
we move 7 of
Right.
these dumpsters
Right.
out here and we just spread them out around town, they will have a problem. They had a problem with that option. We talked about that.
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
Oh,
So what we're gonna do, let me go down through what we
Okay.
discussed, and then let me describe what I'm seeing is probably a way we can go. So I did ask them to keep the current configuration until we have the new area built, and then permit that
Right.
as a transfer station.
that was.
That was an
flat note.
absolute, no.
Okay,
That's a flat. Then I said, okay, then if we eliminate the current transfer station site in front of the garage and we move the dumpsters into the neighborhoods and we find areas where they will be very close to the residents who are using them. Such as, I didn't say any specific spots, but we're thinking BBTS parking lot for the north end.
Mhm.
There's an area down by the treatment building, the water treatment building where we could put a dumpster for the, north-
West
for
Branch.
the west side
Mhm.
neighborhoods.
Right.
Those sorts of things. That's what they said they needed to talk about.
Right.
Okay? Their concern is that we place them and people are coming from all over and putting trash into them. I didn't point out to them that that's what's happening now because nothing is controlled. I don't want them to say that somehow we have to lock all of our dumpsters or something like that, because then the system becomes unusable.
Yeah,
How does it differ from if we had curbside service? Could not people just stick stuff on the curb in front of somebody's house?
Because
So I'm struggling with their logic, that's all.
they absolutely could. There are dumpsters that I drive by every day on Upper Mad River Road that Witcher has. Anybody,
That would be
they're at the
Thornton.
end of a driveway and 10 o'clock at night, you could open it and throw your trash
This is Thornton Town.
in for it.
In Thornton.
I mean,
Right.
that's a possibility. And that's why some of their arguments are not, that they don't make any common sense.
Right.
But they're falling back on these regulations.
Right.
And they're saying, well, this is what the regulation says you must do.
Okay,
Okay, so the next thing we talked about was to design and construct and permit some sort of interim space. That is viable. I don't know yet where the money would come from to do that. I don't know how we would staff it yet. But it would be very limited hours of operation, probably in the off days for, we have the Monday, Wednesday, Friday up above for the recycling. We might go on to a schedule where 1 week you have 3 days of the recycling center, 2 days of solid waste. The next week they're flipped. I don't know. We'll have to see, but all of it impacts collection of the other dumpsters and everything, so.
any sort of secure manned, is that gonna require some sort of identification as
Yes.
well?
Yes, you gotta have a sticker.
A sticker or a placard or
Yes,
something,
because it's
so that's gonna,
supposed to be the residents of the community who are
Okay.
bringing their trash.
and that's what
And
we are
that's
going
why
to
it has to
do
be
in a
named.
year,
That's what we're going to do
the
a
fenced
year from
in,
now,
so, okay,
something that's fenced in.
secured, manned, and with
My
stickers or
argument,
placards.
to them is that's an education process. You don't just make a change and everybody starts doing it correctly.
And when they say residents, do they really mean residents or do they mean property owners?
They mean residents in the regulations.
Yeah.
For here, it's gonna have to mean property owners.
Yeah, I would think
We're
so.
gonna have to figure out how to handle the transient guests.
Right,
I don't know how we are gonna do that yet, but and these are all the sorts of illustrations that I gave them during the meeting, that it's gonna take us a while to determine how to do this.
right.
You don't just do it. Then they brought up, I think it was Jamie Colby brought up establishing what's called in the regulation a truck transfer station. That's under rule 407.05. They have a whole list of how to establish these. This is a limited collection operation that you can operate 1 day a week during the hours of light. And you basically take a truck and you park it with a person there, and people throw their trash into the truck. I don't know that, it does not say that it has to be named, so we could just park and go. But the way that I would see this working, I did ask her if we could set up at least 2 of these around town, and she is gonna look at that. But we would in essence have 2 permits for these truck transfer stations. And again, maybe the BBTS parking lot and somewhere over by the water treatment facility, we could park the truck for 4 hours, 3 hours, whatever works in an operation. And people can bring their trash to the truck. I would say that we would man it so that we could empty the hopper, and pack in as much as we could during that time frame.
So of course, while you're doing that, the truck can't be doing,
Now, the truck's not doing regular
For that 1
pickup,
day.
so we've got to figure out whether time-wise we can commit. So it may only be 2 hours in each spot, but those spots are gonna be limited to 1 day a week.
Could be a Sunday.
Well, it could be,
If the truck is unmanned, what's the dumpster capacity for unmanned versus manned truck?
no,
Well,
a dumpster.
not even a dumpster.
Unmanned,
unmanned.
and manned when the guy could,
Well,
person,
Pretty
hydraulic,
much,
trucks
if it's
will-
empty, then
you can fit
20,
12
30,
tons.
20, 30
dumpsters,
dumpsters.
okay,
more.
okay.
While we're talking about the truck, you want to tell us where we stand on our existing truck? Is it in the works, getting fixed?
The parts are in as of today, and they are scheduling it for Monday to start, Tuesday at the latest.
Was it the engine that was blown?
No, it was the rear end.
Transmission.
The
Yeah.
transmission?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, given that, when would you guess we'd have it back?
I would say another 2 weeks.
We need to figure out by Tuesday or Wednesday what we're gonna do with the other truck. Whether we're gonna send it back and only have 1 month. We need to find out if Casella can support us for that other week.
Actually, we have a 1-month contract with the,
It's a
Current
month to
truck.
month, it's a month to month.
okay, so
contract.
they won't do us,
So
they won't.
they won't do
it.
a partial. If we keep it, we're gonna get charged for all the lots.
What was
That's
that charge?
$7,000.
$7,000.
And so if we're gonna get it back within a week, we're gonna try to get Casella.
Let's,
The problem that we have is, the warranty was a 3-year warranty ending in May of 22. So we are working with the salesman right now to determine, because there's also a mileage limit on the warranty.
let's add this, let's talk about this after we finish this, and it sounds like it's becoming quite involved.
So establishing the truck transfer station, 1 or 2 sites is a possibility. And then doing a combination of some of these. We have 7 dumpsters that are there full-time in front of the DPW garage.
Right.
There's 9 there now, but 2 of them belong up at the mountain in the winter.
And they would be
So-
treated like the other,
They get
Dumpsters
treated
around
just
town.
like the other ones,
So-
so 2 of them we
Don't count,
removed
right.
today. Right. So you have 7 dumpsters. The problem is, those 7 to 9 dumpsters generate 23 to 25% of our trash. So, based on the tips that we do.
10% is covering 25, roughly 25.
10% of the dumpsters is covering
Roughly
roughly
25% of the
trash.
trash.
So that's what we have to plan for. The timing of this, the staff felt that the minimum is that we need to abide by the 30-day time requirements for the development and submittal of a plan. So they don't expect us to be operating the new facility within 30 days, but they do expect us to have a written plan to them about what we're gonna do. They did say that they would extend that a week because of, they're still talking about it. So that gives us a deadline of August 19th to get them a plan. Once we get them the plan, they were not clear when the new facility or the new operation had to be in effect. Again, Jamie Colby, who seemed to be the most reasonable person on the call, said, when is your next slow period? And I said, post Columbus Day through Thanksgiving.
Was he the most senior person
It's a
She- she,
yes,
okay.
she's the
of the 3 that you were?
management supervisor.
Okay,
Emily is Austin's boss,
okay,
and Jamie is in the compliance management, solid waste.
right,
management.
that
So
oversees
she's
the compliance.
overseer. I
Well,
don't
it's not
know what
important.
their organization
I don't
chart
really-
looks like,
just-
but she was
okay.
the senior,
And you were saying she was,
The most-
seems most reasonable?
most
Oh,
recent.
That's good.
She was trying to find a way to work with us. The only thing that she kept going back to is you're not gonna be able to continue to do what you are doing for more than a couple of months.
So we definitely have to get a plan to them by the 19th,
Yes,
and we're hoping they'll give us, say, till Columbus Day, mid-October,
hopefully somewhere
implement
end of,
whatever the
middle
plan
to
is.
end of October to
Implement it.
It sounds like we have to wait for them to get back to us next
And
week.
we need them to get back to us.
Right.
What I would, at this point, I would say if we can make it work time-wise, that we use the truck transfer station, one or two of those, okay? And have those available and, you know, educate people on when they're gonna be there and how they work, okay? Then we take 2 or 3 of the dumpsters from the 7 and we put them back out into the system. And then hopefully they will give us permission for 2 additional neighborhood dumpster sites. Okay, which would give us a total of 5 of the 7.
I'm sorry, run that by me again. I got the truck part, but the other
The
part,
truck part, so the dumpsters.
right,
Take 2 or 3
of them,
okay,
and
and
put 'em-
just put them out at existing dumpster
okay,
enclosures.
and then let's see if it allows us to
Okay.
have just 2 there,
And then
At the
see,
central.
and then,
Oh, okay.
and then take 2 more of them
right?
and set up new dumpster enclosures that are close to the single family homes. Right, out by the
You'd have to do
water
an
treatment
enclosure.
building. Huh?
You'd have to do an
Yeah, we have to
enclosure.
build a little enclosure, but we could do something with. a
My chain link
fence.
fence,
Yes, exactly.
my chain link fence behind my garage.
Exactly. No, and that's the sort of thing. it's
Reasonable rental
temporary.
rates,
Well, no, but it's temporary because those would go away. We would make the agreement that those go away when we reestablish the center.
and why would we have to get permission from,
Well,
as opposed to the other 3? Let me check this out.
the other 3, I'm just treating like because we have pulled dumpsters out of enclosures and put them at central. Okay, so we pulled one from Windsor Hill, we pulled one from Mad River condos. We could make an argument that we have pulled these out of where they were before to put them in the central location. Just stick them back out in the community. Okay, I don't think they would balk at that.
Just telling them about
It's
the 2.
It's just telling them about the 2 that we are setting up. New enclosures and why we're putting.
I
them.
see, okay,
Because they consider the dumpster enclosures the same as curbside pickup. They consider it as, their term
Source.
for it is source generation or source collection. So, and that's
So,
not regulated.
Even if you put a fence or an enclosure around it, people can still get in and out,
Absolutely.
correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we gotta wait till they get back to us.
Yeah. But are there any other thoughts that you guys have about this?
So you said you talked with James about the Terrell site.
Yes, and he said that he has a month-to-month agreement with
Pete,
Pete Hickson. Right. And Pete is already in discussions with someone else to take over his operation. So Pete had already communicated to James that there was, at some point in the future, he may not be using that site anymore. So James said, as long as he can give him a month or 45 days notice, he's okay turning it over to us, and we can make it part of the P&S, and he'll lease it to us for $1 a month while we close on the P&S after town meeting.
but that's the one that would have to be manned. because
It
it's
would have
central.
to be completely set up, we'd have to do some work in coming up with a fence that meets
That's really a fence,
the
right?
regulation.
The issue with the truck, I'm a little concerned that if it's unmanned, I wonder how quickly it will get filled.
Yeah,
And,
we got a man.
yeah, and if we man it, then you have a truck idling, and what about the winter and all this kind of stuff that we're already dealing with? So we're gonna put more wear and tear in the truck. That's what I'm trying to say.
Seems to me it would be better to stay away from that if we could, unless we really had to,
Mhm.
Because of the
because of all those things.
wear and tear.
Well, and
Yeah.
I'm not even sure we could set it up in our collection process. I don't know that we have 2 or 4 hours of downtime where we could leave it parked.
Especially in the winter.
Well, unless you did it like
We-
on a Sunday or something, right?
We did talk about those sites potentially being a dump truck and having a roll-on, roll-off somewhere, and you basically empty the dump truck into the roll-on, roll-off. But we would have to
You got
construct
corrals.
that, and you've got animals during the summer, and you've got precipitation and freezing in the winter. It's not a good,
This might seem silly, but why not park the our garbage truck in the garage? And have people bring their garbage there on the 2 hours. There'd be somebody there that you go ask if it's filled up and it needs to be compacted.
we could.
It's a winter issue too. I mean, that would work
Yeah,
as a potential winter solution. We covered.
And in the summer, we can put it behind the fence up by the lagoons and have people drop it off there. Those might be our truck.
but I mean, the only reason I thought about the garage is that even though people are busy throughout the day, there certainly should be somebody there who can get in the truck, turn it on and compact what's there.
Especially if it's a particular day that's
Yeah.
been selected, this is
Right.
the day, and these are the hours for people
Right.
to
I mean,
come.
how long does it take to do that?
Not very long.
But how do we handle Sundays?
I don't know.
But you'd
It's
have
gonna be a
to-
combination of things, yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't want to leave the garage door open all winter.
No,
No, no,
no,
no.
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 This
Not
is,
during-
we're talking about, if we're talking about the truck transfer station, we're talking about
Right.
2 hours, right, on a day kind of thing.
And we've got a side door right there beside the truck. I'm sure we could arrange signage and get them in and out, but that would not be super ideal. So I think that's a low down on the
Once we
priority
figure out-
list. If we have to do it, we certainly can design something.
Bob, what are you thinking of with regard to the Sununu option in particular?
Well, I don't know. I think we should just keep our powder dry until we find out what the state says next
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay.
No need to make a decision today, right? Just,
Jim, you looked at
Discussing
the other Terrell site.
Mm-hmm.
How many dumpsters could we put in there?
We could get some,
what's the,
How many dumpsters could we put in? Oh, really?
we'd have to make it so that you go in the gate that exists and then you come out the side. You know, one
There'd
way.
be
and
some,
there's room
oh, you said the
enough-
Tyrell, so you're talking about the
There would
area.
be- Yeah, there would be room enough to place the dumpsters so that the truck could service them.
Yeah.
And it would be a little tight, but we can make it work.
it's gonna increase maintenance time in the winter especially.
Oh, yeah, it would be harder to clean up in the winter time. but-
Is it less moving parts though? As an operation as opposed to some
No,
truck?
because now we have to staff it. And you've got to figure out times that it's open.
And scattering things around town is for sure the best. 2 enclosures and the rest of them, a few more just scattered around and,
No
And maybe
truck?
do away with the couple.
yeah,
And you're thinking no truck?
no trucks.
Just scattering them around?
Scattering
If we can
around
come to
a couple
agreement.
new
Take the
enclosures.
5 and scatter them around.
Right.
So 3 of them just go out into
Right.
where we used to have them. And 2
two new
We'll
enclosures.
just have to make it work for a year. People will have to.
That would be the best, I think. I mean, that's the simplest.
That's something to think on, yeah, before we hear what they have to say. I'm kind of lean in that direction, but who knows what they're gonna say.
Yeah.
And to what extent they may balk at this particular option,
Well,
right?
The only definite no we got was we can't operate it the way we're operating.
Yeah.
For a year. So we gotta fix it somehow. But at least they were willing to look at other options. That was not just build a transfer station in 30 days.
Any other discussion on this? Okay, why don't we go back, since we're on the issue of trash and trash truck, let's go back to the issue that Bob raised about
Yeah.
what we're looking at next week.
Well, I think they answered that. They said, once we know when the construction would be done, we're gonna go back to,
The place in Ohio.
No, no.
because,
Oh,
the truck, yeah, the truck will go back, but we'll try to get the,
Casella.
But that'll have to be managed, right? Because what if Casella isn't available and we don't want to let go of the truck?
So
And
we,
do we want to pay the
Those are
7,000
costs.
just to have to make sure we have the truck? Especially if there's 2 weeks turns into 3 weeks.
well, what you thought?
The Casella's charge is $160 an hour, portal to portal. Okay, so, and then, of course, the additional tonnage charge.
What was it like when they were here in an emergency? What was that charge?
I haven't seen a bill yet.
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
Get some idea of it.
So there's two pieces to the, well.
Yeah.
The one known is the rental price, right? We know that.
And when's that actual date
I'll have to look at the
Yeah.
contract.
that we have to return it or extend the contract?
By the end of next week.
So whatever that date,
It's the 29th.
the 29th, okay.
Do we drive it out there? Or do they
No,
only get-
we have arranged for delivery and pickup.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then there's, we don't know the timing on ours yet. So hopefully the first of the week, we'll have a better understanding of when we can expect to have it back
Right.
and in operation. And then I will have to reach out to Casella once I know that, because we know we're up against the
Right.
rental date, and to see
Right,
what
okay.
their availability would be.
so at $160 an hour, we're talking about 43 hours to get to the $7,000 ton.
And do we know how many hours?
Well, the Casella would need to be here.
Right.
No, I mean, portal to portal, it's gotta be at least 20 or 25 hours a week.
So we're looking at probably 5, so 2 weeks
So
of
we're gonna be
Casella
close to the
is roughly a month,
$7,000. That's correct.
roughly a month.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was trying to understand too.
so can we, what's our leverage pushing the guys doing the repairs?
No,
None?
just today's world, we're lucky to get parts this quickly, tell you the truth. And, you know, and the other problem, of course, is that it's the summer. And, you know, you've got all kinds of people on vacation, and it's, that was part
And
of the
that's,
reason.
that's impacting Casella's ability to
Yeah,
service.
it impacts everybody. And then, of course, shortage of help. Everybody's in the same boat, so that's why, the first of the week, we can call them up and say, hey, what's it looking like, guys, you know? Gotta give me a day certain.
So roughly I'm sorry, go ahead, Mark.
No, I was just gonna say, if we spend the money and go another month with the rental, it wouldn't be a bad thing to have 2 trash trucks.
I mean,
Period of
potentially,
time.
if we did that, I mean.
Yeah.
So if I'm understanding it correctly, we're looking at 2 weeks of Casella in August at roughly the same cost for the whole month of August, and the certainty that we're locked into a price. And the likelihood that we don't have to worry about the truck repair taking more than 3 weeks. Roughly, is that a fair way of?
Yeah, so
Right.
if we went to 3 weeks with Casella and it ended up being 60 hours,
Right,
we would end up spending $9,600 with Casella. So, one problem with the repairs, and we've now
It's a good
spent
question.
$2,500, $2,600 more than we did by just saying, we're gonna keep it for August.
how confident are you that they've actually diagnosed completely what the problem is? What I'm getting at, sometimes you bring a car in, it's one, next thing you know, they open it up and say, oh, well,
I'm
there's
pretty
this
sure
too.
that, I'm pretty sure that, it's a Mack truck. They're a Mack, they work on Macks, so they know the year of the truck, they know what the rear end is, they know all the pieces and parts that are in there and what can go wrong.
Okay,
So I am quite confident that they ordered probably more parts than they may end up using. Because just everything went in the back end as far as we know. So how far out it went and through how many bearings and seals.
right,
Out through the axles is another.
And they
Right.
have the truck, when they ordered the part.
Yes.
So they should have
presumably they.
looked at it and said,
Yeah, the
the
drum
back
parts.
end blew up,
Yep.
we need
Right,
all the parts for the back end.
Correct.
Okay,
all right,
So it
so
sounds like a next Wednesday meeting, we'll know.
I would
Yeah.
just,
can
we
make a
could
decision.
think on it, and does that give us time for letting the folks in Ohio know we want to extend the contract by? A
I'll
month.
check that with Steve, but I'm pretty sure that he told me that it was Friday. If it's any different than that, I'll tell you.
Okay, so Wednesday, we're gonna have 2 major trash related issues to discuss, right?
Mhm.
And now you mentioned also that there's a question about whether these repairs are actually gonna be covered under warranty.
Right now, they're not. We have a call into Phil Cower, who was the guy who we
Dan,
bought, Dan Cower, who we bought the truck from, and the warranty period ended at the end of May.
Classic.
We put it in service 5/2019, and it was a 3-year warranty.
Do we have any idea now what the cost of the repair is?
No, I
Do you have a guesstimate?
would guess 10.
We're pushing 30,000.
For the total,
Right.
that was my next question, yeah, the total package.
If we were to keep it, if we were to keep the Ohio truck for a second month, will be between 25 and 30.
And then there's the
If
additional
there's
cost
no
of any
warranty.
changes we make. to the
Right, and
system.
now,
That's
and then
Right,
we have to, on top of that, put whatever we're gonna, that's why I think we need to spend as absolute little as possible.
We don't have truck insurance.
Not for a maintenance issue. If the truck is in an accident,
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
all righty. Any other questions from the board? All right, so we'll discuss that further and with the expectation of making a decision on it, Wednesday's regularly scheduled meeting. Okay, I see, well, now we're gonna get good news because Dylan always comes with good news. What good news do you have for us?
Margaret, I'm sure you noticed that police was out
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
they're out there.
They're out there, they're putting down
erosion control.
erosion control, that's what that is.
Their full mobilization date is August 1st, next, so a week from this upcoming Monday. And that's supposed to be when they start to kick off all the work that they're gonna, I think the river crossing is first thing we're gonna want.
Looks like they were cutting out there. I mean, I thought I saw some cutting on the
Yeah,
back.
there's some coming.
Yeah, top notch. You're talking tree.
Well,
Trees.
Bernice was trimming up a few.
These are trees that
small
were,
at the cross.
at the
Yeah.
cross.
None of the trees have been cut for the ski trail yet.
Now, there was some cutting on David's property
Yes.
along the bank. That's what I
That's
noticed as well.
cross.
That's what you mean by the crossing.
Yeah.
Okay, where the pipe is cut, right, I thought you meant
Yeah.
the bridge crossing. Got it. All right, sorry.
Basically, on the wastewater side, everything is still the same. Still waiting on the delivery of that FOA actuator valve. That is still slated for 8/31 for a ship date.
Still beating permit,
Still,
even with all that rain?
we didn't get much. We got 2 inches of rain, but it didn't impact us at all. We
Oh,
didn't get any
okay.
infiltration.
You didn't get any yesterday.
Yeah.
No, that was a good thing, is no infiltration
Yeah,
out of that.
Yeah.
Which means that the repairs we've made have been good.
Yeah, and in the river, even the river didn't really influx too much either, so hopefully the ground absorbed
Great.
some of it. But all in all, the only other thing that we have, I don't know how much detail you want to get into, we're able to find some plans in regards to the sewage line that goes from the
Oh,
wastewater
yeah.
facility
up to
to the
the,
base lodge.
And I had mentioned that to Bob, and I think it probably would be best if you two want, I've explained it to Rich.
Mhm.
If you guys want to come into the office, I can take a half an hour with each of you, show you, we got a little picture and we have the plans. And we can explain to you what the issue is. We met with Tim Smith.
Mhm.
And he's gone back and he's still looking through the resort's records. We are missing a signed agreement between the town and the resort on the line. But we have verified with the Forest Service that it's the town's special use permit and it's the town's line. So
did you guys want to meet separately, or do we want to maybe take a half hour before our Wednesday? I could use another
you want.
retelling. I mean, I understood it, but it'll take me a couple times. But did you want to just meet with Mark separately to talk about, or just want to like meet a half hour before our regularly scheduled meeting on
That's
Wednesday?
all right.
Do it together.
Half hour before the
Okay.
meeting is fine.
Okay, so
Works.
we'll meet at 2:30, Sharon. We'll do that agenda for 2:30.
We'll meet over there for
I
that.
want to,
Probably.
we're gonna see. what-
Is it to meet over there, which so you have your board, or do you want to?
Well, I kind
select
of like
things
to
here?
meet over there, but it'll depend on the assessors whether or not they're
Next
downstairs.
Wednesday.
2:30.
Not Sure.
We'll check on
Okay.
that and I'll let you know.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm sorry, you were gonna say.
No, I think that's a good way to do it. All right.
Okay,
But I think the bottom line is the resort is now on notice. This does have an impact on their future plans more than current operations, although we do have some things that we'll explain to you that are gonna potentially impact the design of the plant.
Mhm.
which means
That's the
cost.
biggest thing, which means additional costs, of course, so. yeah, Potentially.
Peasants even coming with the pitchforks.
Uh,
Okay, great. Everyone good on that discussion?
Yeah.
So I see you have on the
There's-
material here,
Well,
Mark.
there's first the road project, we still have our
Oh,
meeting
okay.
scheduled for Tuesday.
Okay,
So we'll provide an update at
all
the
right.
selectmen's meeting.
And that contract was signed, correct?
No, the notice of,
That's right,
the
okay.
acceptance notice was signed.
Okay,
The meeting on Tuesday is the contract to lock in the 1,930,000.
all right.
And did I see that our permits along that road are all done now?
Yes, we have
So
received
does that
notice.
perhaps change what you're gonna do first?
Maybe, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay, we'll look forward to that discussion
Yeah.
on Wednesday
Just
as
little
well.
things.
Yeah, road, new treatment plan,
2
trash
million here,
issues.
$1.5 million there.
Alrighty, and there was, you had some other
Yeah, and
material?
I just wanted to provide this with you because we had an extensive conversation during the Ray Center Board of Directors meeting yesterday. there are some issues with staffing.
For the preschool.
For, well, yeah, for just for the center in general, but specifically for the preschool and summer camp. We're trying to figure out whether or not we can guarantee the staff for
The upcoming
an
school year?
entire year.
Oh,
Where we only have 4 confirmed participants for September. If that were the number, we will run out of money in February. And unless we can get that up to 8 or 9 students
So what are the chances of that
of getting that.
getting up
Well,
there?
you'll see in here that there have been some discussions with Leah and the resort about, they have 3 or 4 kids, families that, of staff that may have children for the site, but nothing confirmed yet.
so this is for informational purposes.
This is for
us.
informational purposes only. I just, this is kind of a big deal for the community.
Right.
Yeah,
It's the Ray Center's problem. It's not ours as the town.
Yeah, but it was
But
the
it-
parents that got together and said, let's do this
That's
because it's a real need in the community and
And I
it's
don't want
great for
people.
1 year and
Yeah,
now.
and I don't want people to come in
Right.
and start yelling at a selectmen's meeting
Yeah.
at you guys that we did something. It's like, what are you gonna
we're here.
do? No, but without you guys having some background.
Okay, no, thank
as to
you.
what's
Thank you
going
for watching out for that.
on.
Okay.
So, and I think that's the only other thing that I had.
When do you need input on that the master
Oh.
plan wording?
Well, we're still in the draft. They have a meeting next Thursday.
Thursday at 8 o'clock. But this is the meeting where we're supposed to set all the language. Look at it one more time and then put it out for a public hearing.
Right, so this is final draft time for the planning board. Then they put it out as a draft and they hold 1 or more public
Public
hearings.
hearings, even though it's just a planning board document, it's not something that's
Right.
going to town meeting.
So basically, the wording that I gave you is what is in the current draft. And then, but if we want to change it, if we can change it before Thursday, that would be, we can distribute a revision to them before they meet on Thursday morning. Or if you want to have Rich bring edits in from you guys, we could do that on Wednesday.
So how does this compare with what was in the prior master plan? For the-
There was no detail in the town facilities chapter before. This is all new material.
Part of this is that, we have a professional land use planner actually helping us with the master plan. So we were following her exemplar as to what is included in a master plan. The thing is like 117 pages.
17 pages.
And it's got an action plan associated with, so anything we put in the discussion,
There should be,
There should-
action.
there should be an action item and a responsible party in the action plan. And this is gonna be the guidance for the planning board and the town for the next 10 years.
10 years.
Well, it's kind of struck me, I don't know if you guys have read it yet, but it struck me that you threw everything but the kitchen sink in there in terms of, I thought it was more detailed than it needed to
Well,
be.
and I asked her about that level of detail, and that's part of the discussion that the planning board can have on that. She said, put in more detail initially and let the planning board take it out. If that's what they want to do. If you just want 4 bullets that say you need to address the public safety side of the facility, you need to address the administration area. I mean, you can make it as
It's-
general as we want,
In some sections, it's extremely detailed. Perhaps we should get Bob a
full copy.
you want to see a copy of the draft that we're working on?
Sure, I
I'm
guess.
sure
Okay.
Margaret, we should be interested in such a thing as well,
Okay,
so.
So we'll get a
It's
list of
electronic.
those. send that.
Yeah, no, please, yes, it's digital.
Yeah,
there
it's
are-
digital.
Planning board members who prefer.
Yeah.
All 117 pages plus action plan. And
But
How big
it's very, look at the action plan piece, so there's two different parts to it, Bob. There's the chapters that are kind of the discussion, like Rich said. And then there's a chart that has, I think we're up to what, 100 or so
lost
action
count.
items. And it's broken down by each chapter of the plan. And then it has what the action is and who the responsible parties are.
with the primary party
With
being designated as such.
correct.
In,
You're gonna see that the select board and the town manager and department heads, we're the responsible parties because it's a budgetary thing
it's the
or
nature of the
whatever.
beast.
It's a major piece. So
The, this action plan is a guidance too. It's not something that, well, not all of these items, maybe not the majority of them are actually going to be completed in the 10-year period, but these are just identified items that flow from the master plan that we should consider completing in order to fulfill what the discussion that that's been listed in the master plan. So it's not you must do this by this date,
Okay,
but these are the things that we should be doing.
And primarily for us, it is infrastructure, pardon me, and facilities. And it's, as it relates to the capital improvements
Right.
program. That's primarily what there are some regulatory things in there, but the most of the action plan items are facilities or infrastructure.
And it's not just that building, it's,
No, it's everything.
there's every building, there's discussion of every building. Okay, so, Bob, did you want to, anything further on that, or we'll look at it on Wednesday?
that's fine.
Is it just the action? item?
No, both.
No, give me,
Or
yeah,
The whole
Pass-
thing,
yeah,
the drafts.
yeah, throw me on there as well, just so we have consistency of that all the board received it as a board. And, you guys can give me guidance for the Thursday meeting, perhaps on Wednesday's meeting as to what you would like to see.
Okay,
Any other, public?
Anything else that you are expecting?
any non-public?
I got one thing,
Okay, non-public.
someone stopped into the
Okay.
office just before this meeting.
All right, so.
see you guys.
See you later.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to move into non-public?
Jim, can you stay, because
I'll
this
second it.
relates to the non-public,
All in
you're
favor?
good, Dylan.
Okay, we moved into non.
Actually, you know what, no,